sister-in-law and brother-in-law. I was quite excited about it. So I put it on, and it was Women's Hour. So it's called Women's Hour or Woman's Hour?
There's more than one that listens, so yeah, women.
Felt a little bit exhibitionist listening to Woman's Hour in the show. Felt a bit like I was in a bit of an inappropriate setting. But anyway, it was all lovely, and then suddenly it went and exactly the same as the other. Now, is there a breakfast show that's hosted by a macaw? Is that possible?
I think you sound like you're the consistent part of this.
I know, but what is it? The electricity in my body?
There's something
in conjunction with water?
Definitely. It's definitely that.
Is it the Bluetooth? I say that because I don't really know what Bluetooth is. Some mysterious thing that travels in the air.
Yeah.
It's like spores, Bluetooth spores.
I just know it's connectivity. I always see it next to, and I like that word. 'Cause it's a made-up word. I don't think you'd say out.
I really want to make it work though.
Well, what are we going to do?
I wish someone would help me.
Is there a Bluetooth expert that can?
Wants me to help you with your shower radio.
There won't be. Bluetooth is something that doesn't quite exist, in my
There'll be
opinion.
someone. That's someone's livelihood.
I hate the idea of wasting time in my life. When I'm in the show, I want to be learning. You know. When I'm on the treadmill,
Just relax for a bit. Have a shower.
Learning in the shower.
Do one of those primal thoughts like I do in the shower.
You've got longer left than I have.
Well, how do any of us know?
Well, even so.
So we're from the show.
Wash yourself.
That's a good
What you
idea.
should be doing in the shower.
Imagine that.
Wash yourself and learn. Wash yourself and learn is the title of my new pamphlet. For under 15s. Thank you so much for listening this morning. If you're going to deal on the train,
We are.
we'll see. Well, we're a bit undecided. Deal or no deal? Hey! So if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8.
Let me stop you there because you have to define what you mean, because it could just be longer because you're moving at high speed relative to the listener.
Oh yeah, I haven't really thought of that. Well, I suppose longer in terms of the minute measurement.
You see, you're getting into trouble now.
Oh, this is really much harder than I thought.
You can define it in a particular frame of reference. So you can say in this particular frame of reference where the player is at rest relative to the listener, then the recording you may have made off the radio is shorter than the recording on the podcast.
Thursday? Is that a frame of reference? Thursday?
Roughly.
It's a starting point, isn't it? Quite interesting. This is the Infinite Monkey Cage extended version. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Infinite Monkey Cage recording live at the Glastonbury Festival! For inertial frame of references! This is a festival that's ready for gravitational waves and how we detect them, but no time now. So, first of all, Brian, we start off. Why are we here?
Began with an exponential expansion of space-time called inflation. The inflaton field
Right,
decay.
so why are we at Glastonbury?
Well, basically because we are going to consider the sound of music.
I should make it clear we're going to consider the sound of music, not the sound of music, which is a pity. I know he loves it. I tell you what, if you've never seen Brian in a wimple singing "How Do You Solve a Problem Like Maria," you haven't lived.
I was told it was actually about the sound of music.
No, it is about the sound. We can do the science of the sound of music, and by the way, we're not skipping so much of that script. That really will be a lot easier in the edit. Now,
I just felt we had to get on with it. We've only got about 5 minutes left.
Fair enough. I'll tell you what, I was wrong to trust you about those mushrooms. These people are looking weird now. So we're going to be talking about sound. What is music? What is the sound of music from an acoustic engineering and evolutionary perspective? And we have put together a super group of brilliant minds. So, on guitar, voice, and sudden moments of visual clarity, Katie Tunstall. Frogs and sloths, it's Lucy Cook.
Acoustic engineering and constructing musical instruments from courgettes, it's Trevor Cox.
On carefully honed routines about Scientology and so also on the cusp of frequent legal actions, it's Matt Kirshen.
On jazz, electronica and the work of Paul McCartney, Brian Eno and Cirque du Soleil, it's Nitin Sawhney.
And this is our panel! Trevor, we'll start with you as an acoustic engineer. We always like to have definitions. So first of all, what is music?
Well, it depends what perspective you want to take, but from an evolutionary point of view, you know, we get a lot of pleasure from it, but it's a bit of a mystery why we have evolved to like music. So some people argue, like Pinker, that it's auditory cheesecake. We have the sort of mechanisms in our brain to enjoy music really for speech, because when you say a vowel, it's a bit like singing, isn't it? It's a sing-song kind of sound. And so it's kind of almost an accident that we have music, and we love having it, and therefore we just kind of exploit it. So one perspective, it's not really got any evolutionary purpose, but it's just something we do. The other perspective is it's crucial to things, and for example, when you get a mother teaching a baby to speak, they use mother reeds. So one argument is actually that music predated speech, and it's how we learn language. And actually, if you go back to Neanderthals, their first proto-language, or our ancestors' first proto-language, might well have been sung rather than spoken.
So I'd heard that in terms of the Neanderthal brain, that there's a sense that music comes in about 40,000 years ago with Homo sapiens. But there is also some evidence to suggest that Neanderthals as well.
Well, I wouldn't say there's. I mean, the evidence we have when we've had music is actually old musical instruments. You find vulture bones which have actually got holes and make flutes. So that's about 40,000 years ago. But music probably existed before. It's just there's no archaeological evidence for it earlier on. So I suppose you could take a guess that when we became big brain, which is a long time ago, that predates the Neanderthals, that maybe we were starting to sing then. But the evidence is really sketchy, so it's very hard.
Does that mean that you might think anything intelligent anywhere in the universe, so on Earth, any species that's sufficiently intelligent would have music because it's a part of the way anything can be done?
I suppose it depends what you think music is. So we might think birdsong as being music, but we might just think of that as a way of them calling it just a communication system. So one of the things that separates music, I guess, from birdsong is that humans are pretty unique in actually just doing it for fun. You know, we'll sit and put some music on just for our enjoyment when we're not trying to attract mates or we're not trying to protect territory. You know, we use music not for evolutionary purpose.
So Nitin, can I just ask you, how do you balance out when you're just professionally playing music and when you're playing music to attract mates? Do you find there's a specific division? No, I don't know how to answer that actually. Yeah, well, I think when I'm making music, I'm always thinking, just to get back to what you were saying, in terms of sound and music, I think of them as quite separate because for me, sound inspires music, and I'm always looking at music as it's a human thing for me because it's you've got to have the intent to make music. So if you're listening to birdsong, for example, like a nightingale or whatever, which is something strangely I did recently, you can actually write music that's inspired by that, and you have to intend to do that. Whereas the nightingale, obviously, well, from my perspective, wouldn't be intending for its sounds to be musical. It would just be using them to attract a mate, as you were saying. So it's kind of differences that I will be interpreting what I'm hearing into music and changing it that way.
But Lucy, look at animals, like a nightingale, bird song. So is it absolutely known that it is purely an evolutionary thing? It's mechanistic? Or is there any sense in that say that there's more?
That they're enjoying, yeah. I mean, it would be lovely. It would be lovely to think that they're enjoying music the way we do. And birds do release opiates in their brain when they are singing, so they are getting some pleasure from it. You know, just as we do get pleasure by dopamine being released. So that's the drugs and the sexy drugs of rock and roll. Birds have that too. In all likelihood, it is a sort of it has a functional role in the animal kingdom. We haven't really been able to find an animal which is just enjoying music for music's sake.
So would you agree then that the music in humans probably started with some kind of functional role?
Yeah.
As you say, the origins of language or in Neanderthals?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, the idea that it's a pleasurable thing is superimposed on top of something.
It would seem so, yeah. I mean, definitely there's ideas that it's a fantastic way of conveying emotions. So it might have been an early way for humans to convey emotions to large groups of other humans that rally us and make us defeat the Neanderthals, for instance. It may have been the fact that we had music that gave us that ability. So, I mean, they've in terms of conveying emotions, they've just recently found that there's a group of gorillas that actually hum while they're eating, and they make these humming sounds. I don't know whether that's a particularly good impersonation of a gorilla.